Good evening, YouTube. It is Wednesday, October 26th, about 20 to 8 in the evening, and it's time for another shop video. And in light of how well the cybersecurity series, or the last cybersecurity video I did, has done on YouTube, a couple things are going to happen. One, you're going to see a lot more of these cybersecurity videos. Two, there is now a cybersecurity playlist on my channel of the videos that I've done in the past that cover cybersecurity topics. If you click on playlists on the YouTube channel page, you will get taken to the cybersecurity playlist. This is going to be the second cybersecurity video, and today I'm actually going to cover two things. One, I believe I've said this in other videos, but I'm going to put it in here again in a cybersecurity video, and that is this. Do not search on Google for tech support phone numbers ever. Reason being is tech support scammers will set up these facilities, we call them boiler rooms, set up 1-800 numbers, and then manipulate the search engines, and especially Google, to get their phone numbers at the top of the search engine results. You then Google for a tech support phone number and you run directly into a tech support scammer. I just had this happen to a client, and now he has to take extreme identity theft measures. There's a little more to the story that I'm going to get into in this video. But long story short, he now has to get a police report, lock down his credit accounts, the whole 9 yards, because he got taken for a very bad ride by a tech support scammer that took advantage of another security situation that he was in. So don't Google for tech support phone numbers. If you want to find a tech support phone number, call me and I will go find it for you and make sure that the number is in fact a legitimate phone number. The second topic I want to talk about in this video is the different types of malware that are out there and what they are and how they work. I don't think I've ever talked about this. First of all, the term malware, a lot of people use the term malware. I don't think it's an official term. I use it because it's all-encompassing and deals with all different types of garbage that are out there today. But in this segment, we're going to get into the actual terms and definitions of the different types of malware that are out there. The first one, and the most well-known one, probably to most of your lay people, is virus. Plural. Sometimes people write viruses, but this is not actually correct. The plural term of viruses, or the plural term of virus, is viri. A virus is, the official definition of a virus is a computer program that will infect a single file, and once it infects a single file, it will replicate itself by infecting other files and use this technique to spread. Viruses are considered a form of artificial life. They have been studied as a form of artificial life. There is a individual by the name of Dr. Mark Ludwig who has studied computer viruses extensively. And virus at one point sort of became the generic term for all malware, but it's not necessary. Virus is not the correct term, and you'll understand why in a minute. The next piece of malware that I want to talk about is the Trojan. And for those of you that are thinking Trojan horse when I say Trojan, yes, you are correct. The official definition of a Trojan is a piece of software that either has or appears to have a useful function. However, it also has a security breaching function that you do not want. A good example of a Trojan is the old whack-a-mole game. Back in the 90s, there was a whack-a-mole game that was spreading around the internet. What people didn't know, and they quickly figured out the hard way, is this whack-a-mole game also had the code for a program called NetBus inside it. And NetBus, for those of you that don't know, was a remote administration Trojan. What it did was it allowed people to get into your computer without you knowing about it and raise all kinds of heck. This is different from TeamViewer, for those of you that have heard me talk about TeamViewer, because with TeamViewer, you know I'm in your machine. You didn't know that a person using NetBus was in your machine until weird stuff started happening. Then there's also something called a worm. And a worm is not to be confused with a virus. The official definition is similar, but there's a key difference. And that is this. A worm, like a virus, is a self-replicating program, but instead of infecting individual files on one machine, they will jump from computer to computer to computer via a network connection. And yes, this includes computers that were connected to the internet. There have been a whole bunch of famous worms over the years. I could talk about a ton of them. Some of you may remember the I Love You worm that occurred in the early 2000s that used email as a vector of spread. That was a very famous worm. If you've been around longer, some of you may even remember the Morris worm in 1988. That used some old Linux services, I want to say Finger and SendMail if I remember correctly, as their vector of spread. There's some interesting things that occurred with the Morris worm that also gave it some virus-like qualities, and if you want to hear me talk about that, I can discuss that in another video. Then we have something that is commonly known as adware. And adware is a piece of software that merely spreads ads on a computer that you don't want to see. And then there's spyware. And spyware, what spyware does is it often grabs your browsing habits and then does something with them that you don't want, much like a Trojan. they will either send them off to a third party or use them to display ads that you don't want on your computer. Those of you that use Facebook a lot can attest to these things. There's a particular type of spyware known as tracking cookies, which I will talk about later. And spyware can also be hardware, which I will also discuss that in another video. I hope you found this video informative. As always, feel free to rate, comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see everyone next time. See you all soon. Bye-bye.